Yeah, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Foundation class today, Sunday, 9 a.m. My name is Abuchi Okaro. I am the founder of Depth Foundation, a non-religious organization that teaches the Bible as a map of inner transformation. So we usually hold our classes every Sunday at 9 a.m. here on YouTube, the Foundation IP YouTube channel rather, and Gente Facebook page. This is where we hold our class every Sunday, where we reveal the deeper original meanings of the Bible teachings, which is psychological. By psychological, we mean it is the drama, the psychological drama that is taking place in your consciousness. So that simply means that all of the teachings in the Bible are not stories or account of people that lived in, time, in this plane of time and space, just like we're living today. Rather, they are personifications of your consciousness and its different localization, different attributes. Okay. And if you've been following our teachings, we have made it clear that, of course, as you know, we are non-religious organization, so I don't need to start telling you again that I'm not a pastor. The Bible is not a book for religious dogmatism, okay? Yes, I understand religious people, the Christendom use it to teach their dogmatism doctrine, but we know even from experience, okay, that book is actually the greatest psychological book that's ever been written. In fact, in time, we'll start advocating for it to be included in psychological teachings in universities across the world, because that's what the book is. It's the greatest. I mean, for those of you who study psychology, if you continue to follow us and we'll continue to reveal to you the true nature of that book, you would realize that there's nothing like it in all the book of psychology you have been using to study your courses. Okay, so thank you for joining us today. And today we are going to be teaching Bloodline or Belief Line, okay? The truths about generational curses. Bloodline or Belief Line, the truth about generational curses. So this is quite revealing class today, because we're going to be unbundling what you have been taught to be generational curses. So curses passed down to you because you're from a particular bloodline, and they teach you that these curses are mystical. Okay, they are mystical. They are mystical, like, they happen mysteriously. Okay, maybe because your forefathers have done something, or your fathers have done something, and because they have done a particular thing, then you're going to receive a penalty, and then there will be curses running down in your generation. As somebody who has been part of the Christendom as well, it's one of the most scary things. Okay, as you know, life is full of ups and downs. Okay, life is a web of misfortunes and fortunes, pleasantness and unpleasantness. So man has always asked the question. Man prefers that only good things be happening to him. Okay, and man has always asked the question. So whenever the unpleasant things then happen, the man will start asking questions, especially where is it from? Is it from a generational curse, something that my forefathers have done? And in this part of the world where I came from, in Nigeria, we have used this generational curse teaching to, demonize our ancestors. Okay. The teachers in the Christendom, have continued to tell people that, okay, so once they cannot point to, a cause why something bad is happening to someone, the easiest way out is to make your followers believe that is a generational cause, something, something from, to unbundle what generational cause is. Okay, we are here to unbundle it, to help you understand what it is actually. To help you understand, it is not that mysterious thing that is happening because you are, you inherited a particular bloodline, okay? But rather, it is something else that, will help you. We're going to be teaching you today, and then how to handle it. And as usual, because we know the Bible is a psychological book, we're going to be revealing this whole generational curse thing, the true nature of generational curse. We're going to be revealing it through the Bible teachings, the psychological deeper meanings of the Bible teachings. So thank you for joining us, and ensure you join us every Sunday, as I said, 9 a.m. here on Gent Facebook page and the Foundation IP YouTube channel. For more, you can also go look up our videos, on the Foundation IP YouTube channel here, on also Gent Facebook page. Mind you that Facebook now pulls down videos, live videos after a month. So most of our lectures, many of the hundreds of them that we've done in the past, especially the ones we held as live on Facebook, would have been pulled down. So luckily for us, we also put up those lectures on YouTube, so you can always watch them on YouTube. And for every of our teachings, if you have any questions regarding it, feel free to write us. Our email is there on YouTube, the Foundation IP@gmail.com. You can write us, ask questions. If you want to drop the questions on the comment section, you're welcome. Please try to keep it respectful. Even if you're not respectful, it doesn't matter, because you see, the nature of our teaching challenges the conventional teaching in the Christendom. Okay, even though we teach from the same book, but we obviously disagree in the final analysis. And what do I mean by that? The Christendom believe that there's a God, that the God that created us is outside of us, is separate from us, is up in the sky. But in the in our teachings at the Foundation, we know that we are gods. God is not separate from us. Every human being, everybody, you, me, everyone walking on the surface of the earth is a God. Clearly stated in your Psalms 82 verses, you are gods. Jesus reinforced it when he had to point to his disciples to say, were you not told that you are gods? Okay, so we are gods. Okay, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. So that's one of the belief, and if you've been following our teachings, there are so much, so many other beliefs, but it's always on the final analysis, the concept of Christ and God. Okay, they believe that Christ, the Son Savior, is somebody who was born and lived communally in this plane of time and space, just like you and I are living today. But in the Foundation, we know that Christ is the personification of your, imagination, which is the creative power of your consciousness. Okay, it is through imagination that consciousness takes expressions. Okay, and the consciousness is God. That's God of the Bible. Okay, and that's your true self. Okay. And according to Paul, Christ is the power and wisdom of God. Okay, so your imagination, okay, your wonderful imagination, I like to put it like that, or I also like to put it as your vivid sense of imagination, is what was specified in the Bible as Christ. And Paul, referenced it as the wisdom and power of God. Okay, so since you're God, okay, your wisdom and power is what is your wonderful human imagination. It is out of this that all your life experiences are created. Okay, it's out of it that you, as God, which is your true self, is consciousness, takes the different impressions, so the different circumstances, the different situations, the different experiences you're having in your physical world, the different people you connect with on a daily basis. Okay, in your physical world, who are there to feel, one or two life you've already created in your consciousness. So these are the things we teach. So let's get back to today's topic, and which is simply bloodline or belief line, the truth about generational curse. Now, when you think of generational curse, you think of a mysterious thing that happens, okay, because your forefathers have done something, or because somebody from your bloodline have done something that you're now paying the penalty for, because because you're from that particular bloodline. Okay. In the Christendom, they have taught it that way. They have made you believe how complex it is, okay? And they have given you different solutions, family deliverance, and go and do this and do that. Even the traditional animism, religion also teaches it, as something you inherited, the penalty you inherited from your fathers and your forefathers because of the particular sin they have committed. Okay, so we are here to basically explain that that's not what generational curse is. But again, we understand where they take these teachings from. Okay, we know where these teachings came from in the first place. Okay. Sorry, just give me a sec. Excuse me, give us a sec. right. So we basically know where this teaching is from. And that's if you look at Exodus 20 verse 5, and also if you go to Numbers, okay, Numbers 14:8. Let's take a look at them. So let's read the first one. Exodus 25. It says, "You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am jealous God, punishing children for the sins of parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me." Okay, so it was from this particular Bible verse that the Christendom took that generational curse concept and referenced it as something that passes from one generation. So people who sin, okay, then it passes from, and because they have sinned, then the penalty will pass from one generation to the other. So let's also look at the second verse where it was taken from. Follow me to Numbers 14:18. Numbers 14:18. "And the Lord is slow to anger and abounding in faithful love and mercy." Okay, forgiving iniquity and transgression, but he will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon their children to the third and fourth generation. Now, if you look at these Bible verses, literally, surface level, then it teaches you that the sins of the father will be visited upon the children, the third and the fourth generation. That's what it teaches you, okay? But that's the exoteric meaning, which is not the true meanings of the Bible teachings, okay? The true meanings of the Bible teaching are esoteric. They have deeper, they are coded. So this thing is coded. Do you understand? So these Bible verses that we've read today is what is coded. They are not referencing a God outside of you who punishes you because of what the sins of your forefathers. That's not what this is talking about. Okay, we've thought you even need to start understanding it by true. You need to understand the true understanding what sin, actually means, which is to miss the mark. Sin means to miss the mark. Okay, so you need to get that, but we've done that already. So you can watch our video on YouTube to understand the true meaning of sin. Okay, so these are the Bible verses they reference when they try to teach you that there is a generational curse, okay, something, a particular kind of sin your parents, your forefathers have committed that is still running in the bloodline. And because you're from that lineage, you have inherited that generational curse, okay? That's not what the Bible means, to be honest with you, Okay. And how do we know? Okay. Also looking at it, first of all, I've clarified that these are not the meanings. Okay. Because if we start breaking it down, who is Lord? What does sin mean? What is this referencing to? It becomes, you just know this is not talking about the concept, the idea the Christendom have about curses. Okay. But you can watch our past videos to understand who God is, who God truly is, what sin truly means. Okay. If you relate that, just go on YouTube here, look it up. If you relate that, then of course you get to see why we're saying what we're saying. But let's even try to even clarify it, based on what the Christendom really teaches. Okay, that surface level literal meaning. Okay, and this is why I always say the teachings of the moment you do not understand that the Bible is a psychological book, whose teachings, are coded, and if you can break those code, you understand that those teachings applies to the psychological drama that is taking place in your consciousness, basically. Okay, but if you continue to look at it from the surface level, from the literal surface level meanings, it causes confusion. And this is one of the example. In one breath, it says Exodus 25 and Numbers 14:18 talked about, the punishment, that will be transferred from generation to generation. Okay, and that's what the Christendom taught. Then, if you then look at it, this is what. So, if you now go to verses like, Ezekiel, let's go there. You see, surface level understanding of the Bible causes nothing but confusion. That's what it causes. It causes nothing but what? But confusion. Okay. Now, this is one of the confusion. In Numbers, Exodus, it has told us there's a punishment from one generation to the other. Now, if you go to Ezekiel, let's start with Ezekiel. Let's start with Ezekiel. Ezekiel 18. Ezekiel 18:20. At the surface level, I'm going to point out the confusion. Now, hear what it says, Ezekiel 18:20. It says, the person who sins is the one who will die. The child will not be punished for the parent's sin. Clearly. And the parent will not be punished for the child's sin. But if you go to the Exodus we read, it told us clearly that those people will be punished. Okay, the children will inherit those sins. Then you go to Ezekiel, it tells you that no, they are not going to inherit those sins. Let's now read Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah 31, verse 29. What does it say? It says, the parents have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on fire. Will no longer, okay, it's referencing here. It's saying the parents have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are not set on fire, will no longer be used, because instead everyone will die for their own sin. So it's still referencing. It's saying it will no longer be used. So possibly it was used before, obviously. Okay. I mean, so it was used in Exodus. Do you understand? Obviously, based on what Exodus had said about the transfer of sin. But here in Ezekiel and Jeremiah is making it clear that the sins of the father will no longer be used to visit the children. Clearly, okay, will no longer be used. Everyone will die for their own sin. So we are actually looking at the surface level literal meaning, okay? Because I want to establish how confusing, how contradictory the teachings of the Bible can be if you continue to look at it from the surface level literal meaning, which is the exoteric meaning. Do you understand? But if you look at it from the esoteric meaning, which is that coded, that deeper hidden meaning, you would quickly, everything will just quickly fall in place. There won't be any confusion. You understand? So we're looking at it at that surface level. Now, the Bible clearly stated that the sins of the father, he first of all said it will be visited upon the children. Then, if you go down to Ezekiel, Jeremiah, let's even read because we're supposed to read from 29 to 30. So has told us that those, idea that when a parent eats fruit, then the children will feel the sour, will bear the consequences of the sour. This, Exodus clearly, Jeremiah clearly told us that such things will no longer be applicable. So it means the sins of the parents will not be visited upon the children. Okay. 29. Okay, then it now says, instead, everyone will die for their own sin. Whoever eats sour grapes, their teeth will be the one to bear the consequences. Okay. If you go to 31, it says, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with it will actually start to stop at 30. Okay. He clearly said that if you not eat that grape, it is your own teeth that will be on the edge and not your children. So no more inheritance. This clearly cancels what? Inheritance. Do you understand? This cancels inheritance. Okay. Now, if you go downwards to John, follow me to John 9 to 9 verse 2. So that John 9 verse 2, what does it say? It describes the moment. It says, after seeing a man blind, Jesus asked his disciple, who sinned? Jesus' disciples asked, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or the parent, that he was born blind? Okay. John 9 2. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? That's John 9 2. Now, go to 9 3. It says, neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus. Okay? Neither this man nor his parents, but this happened so that the works of God might be what? Be displayed. Okay? So, Jesus also clearly taught about the fact that the sins of the fathers cannot be inherited. So now I begin to ask, because even we are focusing it now without conceding, okay, the surface level, where we know it started with the sins of the fathers shall be visited upon this the kids. Then somewhere in Ezekiel, he even said, even though that was the case before, it's no longer the case now. That's Ezekiel. Jeremiah now clarified that no, you are not going to inherit the sins of your father. Then Jesus even confirmed it in the Old Testament, John 9, okay, that this person's getting born blind wasn't because of the sin of anybody. So you see, if you look at the teaching at the surface level, okay, it started with, okay, people will be punished because of the sins of their father. Okay, then later, even in the Old Testament, it clarified that no such things, even though it was happening before, according to Jeremiah, it's no longer going to happen. Then Jesus now finally declared that such things will no longer happen. Now, ask yourself, why does the Christendom, even at the surface level, which we at their foundation know these are not literal stories, okay? But even taking it as a literal story, why does the Christendom still teach you that your something that is happening from you is because of the sins of your forefathers or your fathers. This flawed teaching that is not backed, because at the surface level we have even agreed is not even backed scripturally. So those flawed teaching that is not longer backed, is not backed scripturally. They are still using it to tell you they will come and do family deliverance from you. Whenever they tell you family deliverance, especially those of us that are from the southeastern part of Nigeria, okay, where this thing gain a lot of traction. Whenever they tell you it's because they are coming to cleanse the sins of the forefathers. But the Bible is anti-scriptural. I'm especially, referring to these people who always, they tell them they will come and do family deliverance because their forefathers or their fathers have done something that is now, impacting their businesses, bringing misfortunes to their life, unpleasant experiences to their life, and all of those things. They start, now here is the bad thing about this teaching from the Christendom. Even though it's clearly written, it's not backed scripturally, even at the level of surface level meaning, is that they have used this concept, their teaching, to demonize our forefathers. An average African man in the Christendom, African man or woman in the Christendom, have this notion that all the bad things they're experiencing today were the sins of their forefathers, their ancestors. Excuse me. Were the sins of their ancestors. Nobody in the Christendom today, as I'm talking to you, did not demonize their ancestors. Whenever they think of their ancestors, they think about people that are evil, that have caused problem for them in this present time. All are the teachings, the flawed teachings these are the results of the flawed teachings that are not backed biblically, scripturally. They are not backed. They are not backed scripturally. As we can see, all of the Bible verses we have read from Exodus, Numbers, downwards to Ezekiel, Jeremiah, up to the New Testament, in John 9:2. It clearly says, no, you don't inherit anybody from your forefather. You don't inherit any sin. So why are these guys, why do they continue to teach you people these things? And you continue to accept it? There's a generational curse. They like to use that word, generational curse. There's a generational curse. There is no generational curse from anywhere. And that's what we want to reveal to you today. That's what we want to teach you today. So you stop believing in phantom, non-existent generational curse of your forefathers. And how much, oh my God, when I think if our forefathers, if there's a way to reconnect back from them, because again, just imagine how you came into this world. A father gave birth to you. Now that your father had a father that gave birth to him, his father had a father that gave birth to him, that one's father has a father that gave birth to him, and it continues to go that way up till thousands of years. Now in Africa here, based on the Christendom teachings, they now tell you that those your forefathers are evil and they are the people that are responsible for your misfortunes today. Isn't that crazy? And the Bible clearly did not back it. Even looking at it from, obviously that's not our, the way we look at the Bible from Deaf and Deconstruction teaching. But even looking at it from the literal surface level teachings, it clearly says, no, you don't inherit anything from anybody. But what even pains me more is not even that inheriting it from anybody. Is how we have demonized our ancestors, forgetting that we will become ancestors someday, and the children that would our four children, the children we're going to give birth to that are still in the future, that our own children will give birth to. If they continue in this line of teaching, tomorrow, those when it gets to those ones, they will be those ones. The Christendom would tell them that we, who will now be their ancestors, are the reason why they are having misfortune. How would you feel knowing this now? Because that was what was done to your own ancestors. Knowing that this same teaching will continue and this same thing will be done to you, how would you feel about it? When I have a son now, then my son will give birth to his own child. His own child will give birth to their own child. Their own child will give birth, and it continues like that. Maybe in the year 150 or whatever, the Christendom will be teaching that is me, Abuchi Okaro, that is responsible for the misfortune they will face there. Because that's what they taught me. They taught me that my ancestors are responsible for the misfortune I am facing here. Is that fair? Why are we demonizing the people that were the portal through which we came into existence today? People that obviously, if truly there's a way we can see them, you will notice that these same people had their own fortunes and misfortunes. They had their aspirations, they had their struggles, they had their sufferings, they had their good moments, they had their bad moments. They had things they could not explain in their life. But somehow, Christendom told us these guys are evil. That teaching needs to stop, because also looking at the Bible from the surface level teaching, the scripture does not back that teaching up. Nobody inherits anything from anybody. Do you understand? Nobody inherits anything from anybody. So stop allowing them to deceive you, because at the end of the day, by the time they have, all they do is to use this sort of teachings to instill fear in you. Okay? How? Because, when they tell you that because look, whether you like it or not, life is always ups and downs. Good moments will come in your life. Bad moments will come in your life. Whether there was religion there or not, no. Bad moments will come in your life. Good moments will come in your life. Okay? You need to understand this fact and face it. And stop allowing yourself to be used by these guys to make money. That's what they do at the end of the day. They will tell you that your ancestors did something. Let them come and do family deliverance, or let them come and do deliverance from you. At the end of the day, they're asking you for money. It's your money they're interested in. Because no cost came from anywhere. No, you are not paying the penalty of anybody's sin from anywhere. And they know this. It's your money at the end of the day. That money you're going to pay them to help you remove that cost, which in most cases, it's not removed, because what? The root cause of what they have tagged as generational cause, which is not generational cause, bloodline cause, is actually not generational cause. It's actually not bloodline cause. It is belief line circumstances. It is belief line circumstances. But we'll come to that. We'll show you how it is belief line and how you can obviously manage your life without resorting to anybody come and doing deliverance for you. So we're going to come to that. But let me address this flawed teaching first. Let me address it finish. Okay? Because it hurts me how these people take advantage of your gullibility, instill fear in you, tell you something you cannot prove. Even they cannot prove it. That is your ancestors that is responsible for what is happening to you. Then you will now become afraid. You become scared that your ancestors, they have done one thing, and that thing is not affecting your life. You will now rely on them, the people that teach you this anti-scriptural teaching. You will now rely on them to find solution. They will now list what you need to do. and how much you need to pay them, and how they will come to your family to come and do family deliverance. At the end of the day, you spend money and they go, and your life will continue to take the normal shape it's taking, because every one of us, are the ones that create the circumstances of what we are facing today. We'll get to that. That's where we'll now dive into the deeper original meanings of all of these things that are clearly written here in the Bible, and let you know how flawed looking at it from literal perspective is, and how these people just look at those literal perspective and use it to swindle you. That's what they do. Take your money. That's all. The goal is always to the objective is clearly mapped out from the day one. When I come, I tell you, hey, the reason why you are going through this experience is because your forefathers have done something. We need to go and break that curse. We need to go and break that generational curse. If you see where they are praying, let's go and break the generational curse. If you read your Bible, you will just quickly tell them that, but Ezekiel, Jeremiah, John, Jesus even said it, that we no longer inherit this. So which generational curse are you breaking? Because I didn't inherit any generational curse. So at the end of the day, it boils down to your money. The money you will pay them. They get richer, you get poorer. Because they don't even understand the true meaning of these teachings. They don't know, even they themselves don't know that they can fashion their life as it's pleasing to them. Okay, just like the potter in Jeremiah. They don't know that. Okay, they rely on swindling you, taking your money to live a good life. All right. So you need to, when they tell you this, go and show them. When they tell you the sins of the fathers shall visit upon the children, Exodus, when they show you Exodus 25, show you Numbers 14:18. What would you do? Go and show them Ezekiel. Go and show them Ezekiel 18:20. Show them Jeremiah 31:29-30. Show them John 9:2 to 6. Okay, show them all of those things. And if you want to go further, you can go and show them Galatians. Christ have redeemed us from the curse of the law. Okay, that's Galatians 3:13. Okay, you can also show them 2 Corinthians 5:17. If anyone is in Christ, he's now a new creature, so there's no curse. So which family deliverance, which deliverance from which curse are they breaking? Which generational curse are they breaking when none is not existing? Okay. You show them Romans 8:1-2. The law of the spirit of life has set you free. Okay. You show them Colossians 2:14-15. The record of death is cancelled. I mean, because you cannot both be under family curse, generational curse, and also be under the blood of Christ. That's not possible. One has to give way. And which one will give way? The generational curse, because it doesn't exist in the first place. So for you to even agree that there's a generational curse, that means you're antichrist. That's what it means, because you don't believe in Christ. That's what it means. Going by, let's even go by their own teaching. It means you're an anti. If you have ever called anybody to come and break any generational curse in your family, or do deliverance for you to break any generation, you are an antichrist. That's who you are. If you have ever done that, you are an antichrist, because you are not practicing. It's clearly stated in Galatians. Christ has redeemed us from curse of the law. Galatians 3:13. If you go to 2 Corinthians 5:17, it says anyone in Christ, he's a new creature. Okay. If you're a Christian, Christianity means Christ-like. So if you're doing anything opposite of all of these things, you're an antichrist. Okay. You go to Romans 8:1-2. The law of the spirit has set us free. Okay. Colossians 2:14-15. The record of death was cancelled. So you cannot believe there's a generational curse and claim that you're a Christian, that you're Christ-like. Both of them don't go hand in hand. That's not possible. Go and tell your pastor, the founder of Death Foundation, Abishai Karo, says so. Let them come and let us go through the Bible together. The problem is that you guys, even at the surface level, you don't even read the Bible. Your own Christianity, your own idea of Christianity, and this is why there's so much mess in the Christendom, is reliant on whatever anybody on the pulpit says. You don't even care who that person is. As far as he's grandstanding that he has access to God, you, who is under the sound of his voice, do not have access to God. Him, he has been ordained from somewhere. They've done ordained themselves. They come and start brandishing and be. See, it's not even just go and live with them in their homes. Go and live with them. You will find out who they truly are. All of them from A to Z, no exception. Because what they hold against you when it comes to how they have access to God and you don't have access to God is simply that you're a sinner and they are not sinners. That's what gives them access to a God that, by the way, is not even existing if you have been following our teaching. Okay? But now, to even know if they are sinner, go and live with them in their house. In fact, the person you ask, those people that live, let them tell you about this person. Then you will now know whether what you call sin that you do, whether they are not also doing it. But what do they do when they are caught, when their life shows in front of the camera, when they have done the normal things they do, just like every other human being? They will now come and say how God can forgive them, how they are not flawless, how they are not perfect. Okay, if we agree that they are not flawless, they are not perfect, they can actually fall to sin, that the so-called devil can actually tempt them. It then equally means that you don't need to be flawless to have access to God. So why do you now tell yourself that no, you don't have the capability, you don't have what it takes to access God? It is them. Therefore, you must live your life, you must live your life in such a way that you can only connect God through them. There is everything wrong with the Christendom teaching. And that's why an organization like the Deaf Foundation has been born. Because we'll continue to call it out and continue to point the people to the deeper original meanings of the Bible teachings. Okay? So, that being said, what then is this whole thing they call generational curses? Okay? First of all, while I was talking, disproving all of this nonsense they teach people, I was doing it based on their own, model of teaching, which is that, the Bible, they teach it from the exoteric meanings, right? The literal surface level. Now, let's even go deep to understand all of these things and get to what they call generational curse. Let's look at that first. Let's look at that first one, where they pick these teachings from. Let's look at it. Now let's go to the esoteric meaning, the deeper coded meanings of those things. Let's go look at them. Let's start with that Exodus 20. He said, "You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am jealous God, punishing the children for the sins of the father." So what does this simply mean? The esoteric meaning. This is not referring to a God outside of you. As we say, as we teach in the Deaf Foundation, you are God. Anytime you see God in the Bible, anytime you see I, the Lord, I, is referring to you. Is pointing at you. First person present tense. All the I in the Bible, all the Lord in the Bible, all the God in the Bible, all the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Ancient of Days, the Omnipotent, all of the terms that was used to represent God in the Bible is referring to you. You are the God of the Bible. Your true self, which is consciousness, is the God of the Bible. You are the God of the Bible. Let me not even differentiate between true self and non-true self. It is you. The Bible is your autobiography. Okay? So this God is saying here, is telling you, don't worship any other God except yourself. And by worship is not going to sing praises, it's focusing on yourself. That's what that worship means. You should not focus on anything outside of yourself. Then he described it with being a jealous God and all of those things, punishing the sins of sin. Simply means to miss the mark. And we have done a video on that. You can go look it up on YouTube. What does that mean, to miss the mark? The word that was translated sin is a Greek word, hamatia. It means to miss the mark. What does that mean? To miss the mark is if you try to target something and you didn't hit it, you have missed the mark. Okay? Therefore, it simply means anytime you try to achieve a dream, or the dream that you have that is swimming inside of you now, it doesn't materialize in your physical world. As far as you have them as desire, at that desire level, whereby they have not materialized in your physical world, is you're sinning. Sin is when those desires have been able to materialize in your physical world. And that's the whole teaching about faith and belief and righteousness. Because faith, belief, righteousness are the same things. They are the portal. They are like the bridge that helps your desire move into your physical world so that you can experience it. The moment you've not been able to apply faith to help your desire move into your physical world so that you can experience it, you're still at that desire level. You are sinning. You are missing the mark because you have not achieved the materialized form of that your desire. Is still at the dream form, the desire form, the want form. That's sin. You have missed the mark. That's the sin of the Bible. Sin has nothing to do with breaking of any moral code. How do we know this? If you go to Daniel's 4:27, it says, break off your sin by being righteous. So what does that mean? Stop sinning. Stop missing the mark by being righteous. So what does righteous mean? This is how you get to understand that sin is not the breaking of moral code. Okay. What does righteousness mean? Now go to where he says, Abraham believed and it was counted unto him as righteousness. So belief is righteousness. So it means to break off the sin, you need to believe. To stop sinning, you need to believe. And that's what I've described now. To stop sinning, you need to believe. What? To be able to materialize that desire in your physical world, you need to believe. That's why I say, break off your sin by being righteous. And righteousness is belief. So you need to believe. And believe is faith. If you go to Mark 11:24, when you pray, believe it has been answered. And it has already been answered and it will be answered. So you see, to break off your sin, you must believe. So you see, that is not linking sin to the breaking of moral code as you're made to believe in the Christendom. Now we're teaching you the esoteric meaning of the Bible teachings here. That's what the foundation have been better to do. So sin does not mean breaking of moral code, because that is where that idea of inheriting sin from the forefathers. No, because forefathers committed sin, they break a moral code, and then the children will inherit that sin and they will get punished for it. No, sin is when you are not living the dream life you want to live. Sin is when you have a desire and it remains at the desire level. It has not materialized in your physical world. Now, the way to bet that desire into your physical world is through belief, righteousness, and that's faith. That's why it tells you in Daniel 4:27, break off your sin by being righteous. So in order to manifest that desire, which is in sin form, into materialized form, okay, you need to do it, so stop that sinning, which is desire which is your dream, your wish at desire level. And what? You break it off, you stop it. The way to stop it from removing it from that desire level, stopping it at that desire level so that you can be bettered into is true belief. That is faith. So when this Exodus is referring to the sin of the father, it's simply, and the God there in this Exodus is you, is simply telling you that you will continue to experience your present life circumstances because you have continued to live in the belief line. It will be clear as we move forward. But I just wanted to go deeper into those esoteric meanings. Now, if you go to Jeremiah, Numbers, one of the ones they use to teach that, that flawed teachings, he said, the Lord is slower to anger, abiding in love, forgiving sin, forgiving sin and rebellion, yet he does not leave guilty unpunished. So it means if you now know what sin truly means. If you have any hard desire, you don't bet it, you're sinning. So if you don't bet it, you will continue to die in your sin. You will continue to be, that hard desire will continue to be at that desire level. That's what it means by you shall die in your sin, because you have not bettered it. And the only way to bet it is through faith. That's belief. That's righteousness. That's why it tells you, the Bible tells you, you cannot please God without faith. To be able to please God, you must. So, and what faith is the channel. It's like the portal, the bridge through which desire is bettered into your physical form. That's what this whole story is revolving around, okay? Yet it does not leave the guilty unpunished. So you will die in your sin, okay? Those children that have been bettered are those, life circumstances you no longer want. They will continue to be there, and is that punishment because you're not enjoying that life circumstances. You want it changed, but you cannot change it because you have not applied faith. Okay. Then if you go to Ezekiel 18, it's still you now know what sin means. It's still referencing that sin. Those are your desires that are not bettered. Even in that Ezekiel, then the righteousness of the righteous will be credited to them. Okay. It's always bundling sin with righteousness, and righteousness is belief. Belief is faith. Faith is what helps your heart desire get materialized in your physical world. Okay. So that's what all of those courses are talking about. So what they tell you is a cause, a sin from the father. Okay. Is what appears, is, that you as the child, we inherit that sin. It's not the sin of breaking of moral code, as I've explained. Rather, it is the sin of a particular belief system in that family, thought pattern, and emotional conditioning. Those are the things. So apart from inheriting your DNA, your blood from your parents, children also inherit life script from their parents. Your parents just don't give you your DNA and your bloodline. They also give you belief system. They give you thought patterns, and they give you emotional conditioning. Now, if those scripts of belief system, thought pattern, emotional conditioning that they handed over to you, as well as your, along with the blood and the DNA they give to you, if those belief systems are the ones that is still revolving around the circle of unpleasantness and fortunes, you, the child, because you have inherited that script, it will continue to play in your physical world. Why? Because in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. The thinking in your heart are your thought patterns, your emotional conditioning, as well as your belief system. The one you created for yourself and the one you inherited from your parents. So those ones that you inherited from your parents, those scripts of thought patterns, emotional conditioning, belief system that they handed over to you, anyone that, is that in your own parents' life, they bring unpleasantness. As they hand that script over to you, you will continue to play that script and it will continue to bear its fruit, which is unpleasantness, misfortunes. How does all of this thing happen? It's because as a man thinketh in his heart, so what? He is. But how does all of those things happen? Let's go deeper. Okay? So those things are the sins that you inherit from your parents. Those scripts are the sins. The sins, those ones, they were not able to bet. They wanted it. It was part of their dream, their wishes and all of those things. Wishes probably to be wealthy, to be healthy. But they could not bet it. They passed down to you those same belief systems, those same thought patterns, those same emotional conditioning that breeds, that same poverty mentality. It is mental equivalent. Poverty mentality, unhealthiness, and all kinds of unpleasant things. So what you actually inherit from your parents are not some mystical causes. Rather, what you inherit are what? Belief line. How? As a child growing up, as you all know, children learn by observing. They don't learn from what you tell them. It's by observing. Okay? And 90%, especially from the age of 0 to 7, that this is where those belief systems are passed down. So going forward today, don't call them generational cause. They are belief line. So this is where those belief lines are passed down at the age of 7 to 0. That's when they are passed down. Your children begin to watch how you, their parents, handle money, how you handle stress, how you handle relationship, how you handle fear. They begin to absorb those programs inside them. As an example, people could say, in our family, we always struggle. You that is listening to me now, check. There must be a mentality that is running in your family. There's a belief line that's always been passed through your, around your family. Those things are not mystical causes. They are belief lines. They are thought patterns. They are emotional conditionings that one parent have passed to the other, that parent passed to the other, and they continue to pass it. And whatever is the fruit of that emotional conditioning, if it's abundance, that script will be passed down to the children. That mental equivalent will be passed down to the children. If it is unpleasantness, if it is misfortune, the same thing. There is no mystical cause anywhere. Those things are just illusions that, the Christendom created. Okay? So, as a child growing up, your children will be watching how you respond to life, to fear. How you respond to life with fear, hope, anger, hopelessness. Those emotions that they are seeing imprints in their subconsciousness, and they will carry it. If they have not identified that belief pattern, they will also pass it to their own children. Their own children will also pass it. That is that generational thing that will keep going. It is not a mystical cause. It is what? A belief line. such as when a particular trauma is not healed in a family, the parents will imprint those trauma in their children, and then it continues from one generation to the other. Okay? So these things, these belief lines are not bloodline bondage. Rather, they are belief line repetitions. A mental equivalent passed down to another generation. That generation passes that mental equivalent to another generation. Hey, in our family, we're always falling sick. Hey, in our family, we have AS, we are AS. Hey, in our family, we always have diabetes. Hey, in our family, we always have high blood pressure. Hey, in our family, we always have this. You will the reason why that diabetes has continued to be in that family, the reason why that high blood pressure has continued to be in that family is because it is a mental equivalent for you guys. They are weaved in that family thought pattern, their emotional conditioning, and their belief system. Okay? These are the things the Bible referenced when it talked about, sins from generation to generation. This thing I just described is what the Bible referenced. And when the Bible also talked about these things are not inherited, it's good now. Okay, so I don't know when this thing happened, by the way. So it's trying to talk to you about your individual self with your individual sins, where you're going to create a particular pattern as well on your own, apart from the one you inherited from your parents. Also the ones you pick from the environment, from people around you, from circumstances that you have experienced in life. Okay, so all of those things is what the Bible referenced in the other part, where it was the first part. What the esoteric meaning is talking about, those belief patterns, those belief line that passes down, mental equivalent that passes down from parent to their child, to their offspring. Then when he started separating it, he's also letting you know that even you create your own belief line that you would also possibly pass down, but it's focusing on the fact that you will create it. But again, when Jesus was now speaking to it, he's not letting you know that with Christ, you can change it. And that's the next line we're going to teach. Yes, those bloodlines pass. They are not, those belief line pass. They are not bloodline bondage. Okay, they are not mystical causes. Rather, they are simply bloodlines, which are scripts the parents hand. They are basically the emotional patterns, the thought patterns, the belief systems that the parents hand down to their offspring as scripts. Then their offspring will keep playing it. But here is the good news: the beliefs can be renewed. It can be changed. It can be changed. Because what? As God, okay, your wisdom and power is Christ. And with Christ, all things what? Are possible. It can be changed. How do we know that? Follow me to Romans 12:2. I'm rounding off now. Romans 12:2. What does Romans 12:2 say? He said, do not conform to the pattern of this world. Remember when I told you thought patterns, emotional conditioning, belief systems, they are the patterns of this world. The ones you have, so we are focusing on the ones you inherited from your parents, the mental equivalent you inherited from your parents. He said, do not conform to it, meaning don't put your attention on it. Such as in our family, we always have cancer. In our family, we always have high BP. In our family, we always fat. In our family, we always have sugar in our blood. Okay? Don't focus, don't believe in those things. It's how to renew it. So he's saying, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What is mind? Thoughts and emotion. Your thinking, feeling loop is your mind. So be transformed. So change that belief system, those bloodline beliefs, those belief lines that they told is generational curse. Change them. Renew is to change them. So it's possible to change anything, any mental equivalent you've inherited from your parents, that they inherited from their own parents. It's possible to change it. That's what Romans 12:2 is saying. Be renewed, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So instead of saying that in our family, we, there's sugar in our blood in our family, say in our family, we are healthy. Your thinking should be, your thought and emotion should be in the direction of we are healthy in our family. Instead of saying in our family, we die young. Your thought and feeling should be on the direction of we live healthy, long life in our family. This is how to change it. And it's backed biblically. Okay? In 2 Corinthians 10:5, it says, hold every thought captives. Hold them captive. Okay? Hold every thought captives. So if the thought in your mind, if the thought is we die young in our family, hold that thought captive. Don't let it continue to play. Shift away from that thought. That's what you mean by hold every thought captive. And how do you do it? Go to Isaiah 61 verse 3. We're rounding off now. What does it say? To bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes. So if the belief line in your family is we always die young, change it to we always age healthy. Your thought and your feeling should focus on we always what? Age healthy. We always live a long, healthy life. That is what should be in your thinking, feeling loop, other than the normal family one. Okay? That's what Isaiah 61:3 is telling us. To bestow unto them a crown of beauty instead of ashes. Beauty instead of ashes. So ashes is what? Is we always die young in our family. What is beauty? We always live long life in healthy way. Oil of joy instead of mourning. So what? Flip, revise that family belief line. It is not a mystical cause, because everything that comes your way, you created it. That's what Jeremiah and Ezekiel were referenced in terms of sin and causes. Okay? Exodus was obviously saying you pass these belief lines. It wasn't a mystical cause. It's these belief lines you pass. But in passing that belief lines, okay, is letting you know you can separate yourself from that belief line. That's what Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and of course, John, when Jesus was referring to his disciple, was trying to teach you. It's possible. Now, those possibilities, how you do it, is what is written here. Oil of joy, crown of beauty instead of ashes. Focus your thinking, feeling loop on beauty instead of ashes. Focus it on joy instead of mourning. Focus it on praise. Praise, by the way, is when you praise, you're showing gratitude. So focus it on gratitude instead of spirit of despair. So you simply replace the ashes of old family stories with beauty. The mourning of repeated failures with joy. And the heaviness of inherited despair with what? The spirit of praise. Okay? This is why Philippians 4:8 tells you, show us the new mental diet. It shows us the new mental diet where we should be focusing our thinking and feelings and emotions on. It says whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. This is how you redirect attention from the destructive conditioning to ennobling life-giving patterns. That's why Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. So yes, you can inherit, all those scripts, those conditionings from your parents, but it is you who decide what you do with it. Would you continue to accept that cancer runs in your family? Would you continue to accept that untimely death runs in your family? Would you continue to accept that you people always fail in one thing or the other? Would you continue to accept that sugar is always in your family blood? Would you continue to accept that in your family you always high blood pressure? Would you continue to accept that in your family you people always die young? Would you continue to accept that nobody succeeds in your family? If you continue to accept it, then you will continue to inherit those conditionings in your own life. But Romans 12 verse 2 is telling you, you can renew your mind. You can renew your thought patterns as well as your emotional condition for transformative living. Okay? If you go to Romans 8:6, it said to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. This simply means that a mind set in the wrong direction produces death-like results, cause-like, okay? Why a renewed mind brings life, according to Romans 12:2. Because in Romans 12:2, without renewal, the old thought system locks you into repeating the same destructive outcomes, like being trapped under a curse. That's why they tell you have a curse. Okay? In Corinthians 10:4-5, casting down imaginations, bringing into captivity every thought. It simply means if thoughts are not taken into captivity, those thought patterns, if they are not taken into captivity, they become strongholds. They become structures of belief that will enslave you, which mirrors the function of a mystical cause. You'll not be thinking there's a mystical cause somewhere. It's a belief line that you unconsciously inherited from your parents. That's why the ultimate way to resolve it is Philippians 4:8. Think of whatever is true, those things that are ennobling, those things that are pure, those things that are lovely, anything that is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy. Those things should be your thought patterns. They should be your emotional conditioning. Thank you for listening. I hope we have been able to let you know what true generational cause is and how you can renew it. because it runs in every family. All of us have inherited something from our parents, a way, we've inherited the ways our parents handle money, relationship, how they deal with fear, hopelessness, despair. We've inherited how they deal with, all kinds of life conditions without knowing it. That those scripts are what we're using to run our life. Okay. So now that you know, begin to take that advice in Philippians 4 verse 2. Renew in Romans 12 verse 2. Transform your life by renewing your mind. So any condition that is presently in your physical world, whether it is the one you inherited from your parents or the ones you have inherited from your friends or your environment, it doesn't matter. All conditioning can be renewed. And you renew it by following Isaiah 61. Instead of focusing on negativity, think and feel along the spectrum of positivity. And your life will change for good. There's nothing mystical that happens. Everything that happens comes out from you. That's why in John it says nothing from the outside can destroy your life, can impact your life. Rather, it's the things that come out from inside of you. What is the state of your mind conditioning? Are they noble? Are they pure? Are they true? Are they praiseworthy? Are they excellent? If not, start making them so. Thank you for listening. We fast spent our time. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you join us next week Sunday for more life transforming teachings from the psychological meanings of the Bible teachings. We hold these classes every Sunday at 9 a.m. So we hope to see you next Sunday. If you have any questions, you can email us devfoundationip@gmail.com, or you can drop us a message on any of our social media platform or even on the comment section. See you again next Sunday, and I hope you learned something. Please share this thing. Let it get to those that need it. Thank you for joining and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.